Welcome and thank you so much for joining me. I'm James, the director and lead speaking coach at Vensa Coaching. I'm working with Podcast Guesting Pro to help its clients ace their guesting opportunities. As you know, podcasts can be a fantastic way for experts to become known as real authorities in their fields, but it's not always easy. And sometimes people end up sounding a little bit robotic, or what they have to say can end up being a bit forgettable, and that's not what we want. So in this video, we're going to talk about how you can sound natural, keep your audience engaged, and make sure people remember you long after the podcast has gone out. So let's get started. First things first, preparation. Listen to 2 to 3 recent episodes of the podcast you're going to be guesting on. This will help you get a real feel for the host's style and how they interact with their guests. You can see if they like to have a little bit of small talk first, or if they dive straight in to the topic. You'll notice whether they're low energy, quite quiet and slow, or high energy and really upbeat and energetic. You'll also get a chance to note how they structure the podcast. Do they like long answers or short answers? How quickly do they change topics? These things can be really useful in your preparation. And of course, the other thing that can be really useful when you're preparing is to think about the audience, the listeners. What do the listeners of this podcast want from this podcast? Is it interesting stories? Is it actionable tips? Is it maybe a bit of inspiration, or some combination of these things? Have a think about that before you go on. Now, once you're on the podcast, your goal should be to have a conversation with the host, not put on some big performance. Try to avoid scripts, even if you've been given the questions the host is going to ask. When people script everything out, they can end up sounding a bit robotic. Bullet points are your friend here. They can keep you on message without making you sound overly rehearsed. So jot down a few bullet points before you go in. And then just try to be conversational. You speak to the host like you're speaking to a friend. Occasionally ask them questions and let them ask you questions that you weren't necessarily prepared for them to ask. That's what we want to hear on podcasts, and it's what listeners want to hear on podcasts. Try to match the host's energy a bit. So if they're really energetic and really upbeat, then try to be a little bit more energetic yourself. But if they're really slow and calm and reflective, then maybe try to be a little bit slower than you would usually be, because this will help you build a rapport with the host, and that will come through in the audio, in the podcast, which is great. So you should go in with 2 to 3 really clear messages you want to get across. For example, if you're an expert in social media, one message might be how young people are using social networks in surprising ways. You might say, yeah, the thing is, Mark, Gen Z isn't just using TikTok for fun. They use it like a search engine. They plan vacations. They search for hotels and activities on TikTok rather than Google. And you can make these land with sound bites, memorable, punchy phrases that stick with the audience. You might say, TikTok wants to eat Google for lunch, and you know what, Mark, they've already taken a bite. So think about turns of phrase and vivid images that you can connect to your talking points. Now, nothing connects with people like a good story, so go in with a couple of stories that connect to your talking points. If you're struggling to put a story together, you can use this very simple structure: scene setting, challenge, how you overcame it, outcome. Here's an example. So when I go on vacation, Mark, I plan everything in detail. Nothing is left to chance. But I was in Morocco with my family last year, and our flight got cancelled. So suddenly we had this extra day with no plans at all. I was panicking, you can imagine, right? But my daughter, she whipped out her phone, and within 30 seconds, she'd found us this amazing market and this stunning restaurant. And she did it all on TikTok. And I could see everything right away, these beautiful places. So we headed out and we had a fantastic day. That's relatable. It's vivid and it reinforces your talking point in a memorable way. So go in with a couple of stories like that. Finally, let's talk about how you come across. You should vary your tone. Now, I'm sure you vary your tone all the time, day to day, but when we're feeling under pressure, when we're feeling a little bit nervous, we can end up sounding very robotic, and that puts people to sleep. And we don't want that. So really focus on varying your tone when you're guesting. One way to do this is by emphasizing key words, key facts, key figures, your talking points even. You give them a bit more time and a bit more power, like I'm doing now. It's like you're putting them in bold. And this can really help you vary your tone and keep the audience engaged. Also, body language is important. Even if you're not on video, we can hear it in the audio. If you do gesture when you're talking like I do, then go for it, because that's going to come through in the audio, and that's no bad thing at all. So that was a lot, and we will recap in a moment, but if you would like help developing your talking points, coming up with stories, rehearsing for podcasts, getting help with your tone of voice, or even getting feedback on what you're doing well and what you can improve, then as a Podcast Guesting Pro client, you can book a free discovery call with the director and lead coach of Vensa Coaching. That's me. You can book this call by clicking the button just below on this page right now. I'll give you a second and then we'll recap. Let's recap. Number one, prep well by listening to recent episodes and thinking about what the audience want from the podcast. Number two, sound natural by ditching the scripts and going to bullet points instead. Number three, know your talking points, and if you can, craft some memorable sound bites that are going to make them sink in. Number four, tell stories that reinforce your talking points and engage your listeners. Number five, be expressive and vary your tone. That is it for now. I hope this has been useful. Do drop me a line if you have any questions at all. I'm going to pop my email address down there as well. And guys, happy podcasting. Enjoy it.